020 722 42000.
Text 81333. Start your message with the word London.
BBC London 94.9.
Well, it's now 7:37 and the Green Party on the London Assembly is calling for hit and runs on London's roads to be treated as a priority after it discovered the number has increased by 1,000 compared to 5 years ago. There were more than 4,000 failed-to-stop collisions last year, almost half of which involved pedestrians and cyclists. 8 people were killed, and that's 1 in every 5 collisions. The Met says it has an excellent track record for catching drivers who do not stop, but the Greens say it's a worrying trend. Jeanette Miller is a motoring solicitor with Jeffrey Miller Solicitors. She's also president of the Association of Motor Offence Lawyers, and Jeanette joins us now. Good morning, Jeanette.
Good morning, Paul.
Why do you think the number of so-called hit-and-runs are rising?
Well, I think, first of all, it's important to clarify there isn't an offence of hit and run does conjure up this dreadful image of a very serious collision with very serious consequences.
So they're failed-to-stop collisions, are they?
Yeah, the offence itself is known as failing to stop or report a road accident and under the Road Traffic Act. And that can cover very minor collisions. I know the figures that the Met Police have issued do include injuries, but it does cover, fail to stop could cover a situation where you just bump into a bollard and you don't stop and report it. So I think it's potentially misleading, the figures that have been released, because it doesn't really indicate how many of these cases were very minor. I think they're in 3 categories. The fatal collisions haven't increased significantly, which is reassuring to see. But I do think that the slight and serious injury cases, there's around a 25% increase.
Talk us through the different types of penalties then for hit and runs.
Well, if you're convicted of failing to stop or report a road accident, the penalty range is very wide. We're talking between 5 and 10 penalty points ordinarily. There's a discretionary disqualification with any endorsable offence. And at worst, if it is a very serious collision, serious injury and evidence of bad driving, then there is a potential of up to 6 months in prison.
Now, I've been struck twice by cars, once a car, once a lorry, once as a passenger, once as the driver, which then drove off. In one case, I managed to get the lorry driver's number and we reported it to the police. He then tried to dispute it, and in the end, I think we had to do some kind of deal between the insurance companies. Are collisions between cars when one fails to stop also increasing, do you think?
Well, I think the figures do demonstrate that is something that is on the increase, and I think you've just hit the nail on the head mentioning the insurance deal. I suspect that insurance and concerns about insurance increases is probably one of the main motivators for people not stopping and doing the decent thing and exchanging details.
So is there something that the insurance companies could do then to help?
Well, I think they're constantly in the media suggesting that it's the whiplash compensation culture that makes insurance premiums go up. That is a bit of a fallacy in my view. I'm not sure what the insurance industry could do, but I know that where there is a concern about insurance, people do silly things, and I think that may be something to look at.
Well, there is another way of looking at it, which is actually that they could do something to actually try to make it so that actually if you did report a hit, that you'd hit something, that actually you weren't penalised quite so much.
That's a very creative idea. I'm not sure that would work. I'm not sure how popular that would be to the insurance industry. Perhaps you should ask somebody from the insurance industry about that. But I think, it certainly could help people be more forthcoming when they think they're in for a massive insurance increase, but they actually get a reward for reporting their misdemeanour.
And have you noticed, Jeanette, an increase in people who are getting decisions over what used to be regarded as relatively minor accidents after a collision?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot more inquiries from people who are being pursued for failing to stop and report something that is fairly minor, like clipping a wing mirror, where there isn't an injury involved. And I have noticed that, but thankfully I haven't noticed that many more people that are involved in the true hit-and-run situation where there is an injury involved.
Thank you for joining us, Jeanette Miller there, motoring solicitor with Jeffrey Miller Solicitors, also president of the Association of Motor Offence Lawyers.